Hey there crew, so today's video is a little bit different. Today we have a table set up with some different items on it, and if you've read the title I'm sure you're already well aware of what this is. The Panasonic GH5 brand spanking new camera, only just released at the start of the month. Finally got my hands on my version, my copy of the camera, so I'm super excited to unbox that and have a look and start playing with it, because I do have a paying gig to do on Friday with this camera, so the next few days are going to be essential, and that's why I am putting out this unboxing video so quickly. I have literally just returned from the camera shop and picked it up. If you're interested, hang around for the end of the video. I'm going to talk about my previous camera gear, things that I've had in the past over my lifetime, and I have pretty much every single camera I've ever owned, so I'm going to make this a quick, snappy video, but this is super exciting. So, as the lens is the easiest and quickest part of this, we're going to start with the lens today. Obviously the body has a lot more to it than the lens, and they've made this box child-proof in some ways. So this is the 12 to 60 Panasonic Leica f2.8 to 4. So it is lower than the previous 12 to 60, I believe. Inside we have a little box to start with a camera hood, which this does have a little locking mechanism on the side. I don't know how well you can see it, so when it goes onto the lens it clicks in place, and it's a little bit harder to just knock off the lens, which is really cool, and it seems to be a really nice build quality, nice and solid, and feels really nice. So that also comes in a little pouch with a lens bag. Lens bag is great, but don't think I'm going to use that, so there's that. And last but not least, in there, minimal packaging, is the lens itself. Absolutely, it's actually rather weighty, which I like. Again, very good build quality by the feels of it. It's got a pinch, center pinch and an outside pinch to take off the lens cap, and this is my very first ever piece of brand new glass. I've never bought a brand new camera, I've never owned a brand spanking new camera, and I've never had a brand new lens, so really cool. Again, lens and lens hood, and all metal construction, very smooth turning focus ring, and the zoom feels very nice. This does have onboard stabilization, image stabilization in the lens, and the camera has stabilization in the body. They work in conjunction. When you buy Panasonic brand name lenses with the stabilization in conjunction with the camera, they all work in together, which is really cool. Other than that, there's a little bit of instructions. I don't think I'm going to need instructions personally, but and locks in place, cool. Alright, so now onto the body itself. So we'll open this up like so. Pretty cool designed box. Opens it up. We've got some paperwork again, quick guides for the 6K photo, and some basic operating instructions for the GH5, which is all very good. I'll probably sit down and read those later on. It's not something for now. I'm going to get through this box as quickly as possible. It's like Origami City, and GH5 and Lumix written on the strap for the camera. I don't really use camera straps, and I have definitely agree with people like Photo Joseph that talk about the camera straps having branding on them, and the branding on the camera, it's kind of just like steal me, so I don't think I'm going to use that either. But as I said, I don't really use a camera strap anyway, because I run with gimbals, not that that's super necessary. The camera body itself, first impression, still inside the bag, it is definitely a little bit weightier than I expected. I expected it to be large. I've never held a GH4, I've never held any of the other Panasonic cameras, so I don't have any comparison from GH4. I've been shooting old Sony cameras for quite a while, So definitely heavier than the Sony cameras that I'm used to shooting with. I'm not going to open that up just yet. We'll just finish making sure everything is out of the box. I'm pretty sure there should be cables, USB and regular charging cable. Charging, same as the GH4 from all reports, so GH4 batteries can be used with the GH5, that's pretty cool. This cool little piece of kit is to lock, and we'll open it up and take it out. It's to keep the HDMI cable. Now that the GH5 has a full-size HDMI cable, this is to feed the cable through and lock it in place, so you can't just rip it out. Though the larger HDMI cables have less trouble, so most people don't seem to end up using that anyway, so it's handy to have. Probably something that I'm going to lose, but I'll try my best not to. And the battery. So I only have one at the moment, which is a bit of a downer. I'm going to need to get more, but that is the battery, which needs to be charged up before I can use it. So that's the end of the unboxing, essentially, of the GH5 and the lens. Very cool. Oh, it's not quite over yet. I forgot about the camera. So we'll take this out of the bag for a little extra coolness. The Lumix Panasonic GH5 in all its glory. Finally got my hands on the body. It's very good build quality from what I can see. Everything that I've read about has said that the build quality is amazing. This is a huge thing, having the flip out screen. Comes out to the side, goes to in a nice range, and it has front facing LCDs for the video logging stuff, which is really cool. A touchscreen LCD here, nice large viewing port on the camera, and dual SD card slots, which is a big deal. Takes two. You can do overflow, backup, the whole lot. From everything that I've seen, a few mode dials. This is all stuff that I need to look into a lot. It's weather sealed and freeze proof, which is incredible, and I think without, that's just basically unboxed. So that's the end of that part of the video now. Another thing that I picked up for it today as well is this polarizing filter. I'm not sure how good the quality of that filter is going to be, so we'll play around with that, see what results I can get out of it. So the next part of the video, moving very quickly because I am running out of time for this video today, but I have also acquired some kit. So the Zoom H4n Pro for external audio recording. That's going to be a handy piece of kit. I need to get a few more things to make this work with the setup that I want. But 4-channel, awesome preamps in that little thing, professional quality audio, also records through its own cross mics at the top, XY mics I believe they call them. Somebody's going to correct me on that, I'm sure, but that's awesome. Also picked up in the last few days two of these. I've got another one just down on the ground, but the Rode Filmmaker Pack wireless audio system, so lav mic, and transmitter and receiver, so I can do interview style stuff and have just better audio when I'm talking to the camera. This is going to be super handy. Got them at a great deal, brand new product. Heard great things about them, but I haven't used it yet myself. Also with the Zoom H4n Pro, also got a dead cat, so that just kills wind noise and when you speak and push the air onto the mic like that, kills the sound of that. So very handy stuff, always good to have, and just more kit that means I can do my job better. I just very quickly wanted to go through some of the old kit that I had from way back. So my very first camera was this small Fujifilm S3500. Literally just a point and shoot. It's super light quality. I mean, if you look, that's got a lens hood on it, so that makes it look larger than it actually is. But that's the size of the Lumix, or the Fujifilm. I'm thinking about the GH5. I've got GH5 on the brain, and there's the GH5 like so. much larger size camera, light as anything, and I can't even tell you how many pixel the fine pix Fujifilm is, but I can tell you it's not very much. Horrible quality photos, but that's what I started out with, and took quite a lot of photos on that from memory. So my next camera that I got was this Canon MV830i, which never got a whole heap of use because it is a tape recorder, records to physical tape, and I believe it does have an SD slot. I'm not sure if I ever figured out whether you could record video to that, but definitely you could record photos to the SD card. But I got a bit of use out of that, and that was what really sparked my interest in video, was this camera here. Next after that came the Kodaks, so little Kodak point and shoots for video logging, hold it out at arm's length. I have two of those. I don't know where the other one is currently, is hiding, but this was the second one I got, and this one I got myself. My mother got me my first one, which was kind of where I started getting into the video logging stuff with these guys, and I'll hold it out here because my black shirt hides stuff. Next after that came this camera. So this camera was my first proper stills DSLR. It's the K100 Super D Pentax, and wonderful camera. It's 6 megapixel. By today's standards, that's tiny when you've got cameras that go up to 30, 40 megapixels. But this camera still holds up to this day. Some of my Year 12 digital photography photos were done with this camera, and just to give like an impression of size, it probably is nearly identical form factor to the GH5. GH5 has a little bit more size in some respect. But after that one, I did get a GoPro and this, which is my movie. I'm pretty sure you say movie. The GoPro is currently being used on the drone, so I can't take that off at the moment. But this and my GoPro were my next cameras. And then the last two cameras in my kit that I've used over the years is the Sony A33, which is my second shooter was my second shooter currently, and then the one that this is being recorded on, the A65, which is my current A camera, which is now being replaced by the GH5, and then the A65 becomes my second camera, my B camera. So this guy is kind of going to be retired a little bit. I may still use it a little bit, but it's already been retired mostly because the quality just wasn't as good as the A65, and now the A65 is going to struggle to keep up with this. Absolutely struggle. 4K at 60 frames per second, 1080 at 180 frames per second. This camera, this GH5 is an absolute beast, and I'm so excited to get out and start shooting with it and making some awesome content, hopefully. The channel has been pretty quiet lately, but that is about to change, and thank you for watching. So that does bring us to a conclusion on today's video. I hope that you've enjoyed the show, and if you are new here, please hit the subscribe button. It'd be lovely to see you come back and watch more of my stuff, leave feedback, comments, and I shall see you in the future. Captain out.